How you doing, John?
You there?
Yeah, he's trying to get his.
The phone probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
So yeah, I probably I will agree about that. I don't know. Somebody's feel comfortable in doing it, and we just can support the presentation. So
hmm Yeah, I think just looking at it now, I mean, really, the flow of this is it works. Like it, I don't like how it is now. It honestly like how it is now flows like I think it's supposed to. The reason being is that the first from five until eight,
hmm
we're examining hope as is right now. Then nine through 16 is the first part of retention, and there's not a ton of overlap, but these are naturally going to overlap. With what we're doing because they're all integrated together anyway
hmm
as one big strategy. So I'm feeling like the flow right now is pretty good, and it's a thing where it's in order where there isn't a lot of people, where it's a lot of back and forth, like, oh, I'm handing it back off to this person and then to this person. You get what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's very orderly of how it is right now. So honestly, I feel comfortable with where it is right now. You know, it flows very, very well right now. You know, um, I don't know how Sarah feels about that. I don't know how, you feel about that or whatnot. But,
I'm fine. Yeah.
honestly, like just when I looked at it earlier today, like it makes sense how it works. I think the final couple of slides that we have put in here, it works, and I see so it might be at the end here, like 30, 31 or 29, 30, 31. It might get a little bit more like pass off because I think I'll probably do 29 because that's dealing with the model that we have. And I can kind of just walk through it there at that point. I can go out of the presentation and then show the Excel file, show it, and then answer these questions here or fill that in. Then 30 and 31 can be your slides where you talk about the implementation process and recommendations. And then the conclusion can just be literally that timeline where it's like now is these things, 6 months from now is these things. Just that simple chronological order timeline there. And you can close it out like that. So I think right now it honestly it flows very, very well to me. Especially after those last couple of slides were put in. Um, what does everybody else feel about how it is right now?
We're gonna start with John.
Yeah, John, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Have you had a chance to just look at what we have?
Yeah, yeah.
How do you feel about just in general the flow of it? How it transitions. How do you feel about it?
I mean, I guess it's just. I mean, I thought. Are you saying? I mean, I thought we were gonna just like go by through pick each slide and see where it should go. But I mean, so you're saying you don't think we should need to do that anymore?
No, I mean, I'm just looking open for opinions. We can move it around. We can go slide by slide here and just see the flow of it. Um, I didn't want to color anybody's opinion or anything like that by what I just said, but just honest feedback on how you feel about it. I can go. We can sit here and just go through it slide by slide, and I can just talk through all this, if that's cool.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. Sarah, how do you feel about it initially on this one?
I think the more it got filled in, I think it's maybe not, I don't think it's as kind of confusing as I originally thought. I do think there are maybe a handful of slides that should get shifted. And I think my main remaining concern is I feel like we have a few slides that I just want to make sure like there's a clear distinction between like what we're trying to say. In particular, some of these things about like monthly donors, donor tiers, and this like new Heroes for Hope. And like, I feel like there's a bunch of ideas that are very similar. And I think if they're as far apart as they are right now, it might be confusing unless, I think a bunch of them are in John's and maybe one is in yours, Taylor. I think unless they're like super clear in that moment, I think it'll get confusing later. We talk about this already, but it sounds a little bit different. So I think it depends whether we're able to make it crystal clear. I think we keep the order. If we feel like they're overlapping, then maybe we change the order. But I don't know what anybody else thinks.
Okay. So I think the way that we can do this is we can edit the slides here at this point so that there isn't as much overlap. So we can keep it as the original order, but then change it, edit the actual wording. For instance, this is probably the slide you're seeing here. Is probably the slide, this one, or this one is the slide that has overlap. So is maybe 11 that has that overlap, or is it 13? 14.
See, I was kind of thinking of, 14, I think that the corporate employee paycheck, I think if we're specifically going to talk about, I'm forgetting what it's called already, cyber grants, like I have like 2 slides at the end. I think it probably would make the most sense to just hold off and do it like the in-depth at the end.
Yep. I'll take that out. So are you comfortable with just the using different payment methods on this slide here? Just having that.
I'm talking about that anywhere else. I don't know if anybody else is.
That we can put it in a different area, right? Because it's not payment, it's not exactly an acquisition strategy.
Right.
Because acquisition basically is just getting leads, right? Getting information about people that could be interested.
Right.
Through our social media or mass email campaign. So in this case, maybe it would better to put the sales for charging information somewhere else.
Let's see. That can probably be put. Ooh. Let's see.
Well, where, like, I don't know. I mean, kind of before we even get to or maybe, I don't know if it would be before or this could be something we do at the end, but I mean, in addition to any acquisition or upgrading strategies, I mean, we also are just in general making the overall recommendation about Salesforce and tracking donor. I mean, I feel like you could maybe lump that in with that in terms of just kind of overall improvement suggestions or like efficiency improvement suggestions or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's here. And the reason why I say that is this is probably when, Jose, you're going to talk about Salesforce is at this point. So then
The beginning.
slide here could go after this slide. You get what I'm saying? Because then that feeds into you're introducing Salesforce here, and then those payment methods are apps within Salesforce. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I can move this
Should we do it at the beginning or should we do it at the end? With
Salesforce.
the time frame for implementation, where do you think would be better?
I think at the end we introduce all the ideas first, and then we kind of package it all together and show them this is how all this ties together. This is how it's all implemented.
Okay, perfect. So let's mention it at the beginning, the things that we need to have
Yes.
in order to.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep. So we just mentioned at the beginning. So how the flow is right now, and I think works well, is first couple slides is an examination of how Hope Worldwide is. You know, that's where from what I'm reading and looking at. Ooh, let me move that back. You know, that's where we're kind of looking at or currently have right now, which is good. Then we're going into the strategies. Well, first, after the examination, then we're going to best practices where Salesforce will be first introduced. Then we start getting more and more and more into the weeds. So it's starting on a macro level with the examination currently, and then going deeper and deeper and deeper into the strategy. Then at the end, you just tie them all together with the timeline. So I think strategy is really good from that standpoint, from just capturing their attention standpoint. You know, you don't want to start off with kind of just boom, let's head straight into the strategy. Let's head straight into the different stages. We're going to capture their attention by strategically and critically looking at how they are currently. That'll kind of like, oh, okay, now we're getting it. Like, okay, now I understand that this is what we need to do. And then you're giving them that strategy, that acquisition, retention, and upgrade strategy. Then you can tie it together even more with the timeline. So I think, you know, again, let me move this up here, and then I can change this to apps for payment for digital payments. So then again, this will tie directly into this bullet here. So I like kind of how that goes here, because the main issue that they have is that they're not using Salesforce. We want to hit them with that early and often.
The implementation part of the Salesforce or any other CRS has three steps. The first one is actually be enrolled in Salesforce, which they already did, right?
Mm-hmm.
The second part is downloading. Hold on a second. Tony, shut up. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
Tony, I'm in a conference right now, please. Hey, shut up, please. Sorry.
It's all good.
Okay. So we got the implementation of Salesforce, the three stages. The first one is you enroll in Salesforce, is when you send your information to them. If you're qualified, charitable organization, they give you the access to the 10 users for free, which is a donation of $20,000 approximately. Now the first part, You got the Salesforce with nothing.
Right.
And we haven't talked about that, but I'm sure that that's exactly where they are.
Yep.
So the first part to get where we want to be, it's downloading the not-for-profit success package.
Mm-hmm.
Download that. It's an app for free, available in the App Exchange, and it gives you all the frames, six different areas that are just designed for not-for-profits. Besides that, you start the customization of your system depending on what you want. You know? And that customization is the third part. You start downloading these apps from the App Exchange is when we're gonna do the actually the charging. We're gonna do the apps for the acquisition, for example, the contact for the mass mailing, the Chipmunk, the other that I gave you, and the second part for retention, same thing. For the Pardot and the other for the upgrading, the others that I mentioned in my emails. So you're supposed to customize exactly the way that you want to do your strategy, your marketing strategy, or depending how an advisor, because one of the things that we will actually advise if they can afford it is to hire somebody to help them to customize this, because the setting demands some time. You know, for example, one of the things that they need to do is, let's say, the contact information is going to be for South African donors and for American donors. The address information is quite different between the two countries, so you need to set up the contact to receive that information, to have the state, to have the zip code in the case of Americans, the address, and whatever is the information that you need in the case of South Africans. So, for example, so to do that, this is the job of the administrator.
Right.
So it demands some certain knowledge.
Right.
Of course, they can reach out to Salesforce and request some advice on that. They have people available in South Africa, but there's a team. I don't know how good it's going to be, or they can hire a Salesforce certified advisor that will help them to design this part. No, this is how it works. So there's three parts, and the third part, the customization, is when we have all the apps that will help them to develop the strategies that we have. Perfect.
And I think that part that you just, conveyed, that can be perfect right in these 2 to 3 slides right here. That'll be perfect, because then that leads naturally into here, which is more broad strategy into those, into those things that, that we're going to suggest. But that all is dependent on Salesforce, pretty much. Because
or any other CRS, we are developing everything around Salesforce because they say they already have it.
Right.
But if it's Salesforce, where somebody they need to use in a specific contact relationship management system in order to be able to put to work everything that we are presenting.
Right.
There's no other way.
Right.
Absolutely not.
Right. So
I guess I have a question. I mean, I feel like Salesforce, the use of Salesforce, the capability of Salesforce is one of the biggest things that that's one of our biggest points that we're trying to drive home for them. And like you were saying, I mean, it basically ties into everything else we're talking about later, assumes that basically they're using Salesforce to actually track this donor information. But it seems like in these slides at the beginning, like Salesforce doesn't actually really seem like it makes a big presence on these slides. Like I would expect to see a slide that just says like Salesforce at the top and has like images of what it's capable of doing and like bullet points about all that and like snapshots of like this is what it would look like. And and I feel like we all know because we've talked about it so much, but like if you're a third
But it's
party,
not there.
doesn't look, what, sorry?
Yeah, but it's not there. You're right. Yes.
Yeah,
Visually,
I
it's not
feel,
there. Mhm.
yeah, and to me, I mean, that's one of the biggest things that we're basically, that's like one of the biggest takeaways from our entire presentation is you need to be using Salesforce to track your donors. And it seems like that's what I would expect to see right in the first few slides, as kind of a preamble to everything else. And I feel like it's more of an undertone of the slides rather than like in your face, here it is.
Well, it could be possible that Jose verbally speaks that, or Jose shows examples of videos for Salesforce. You know, that could be possible. You know,
Videos
you know,
are a little
it's
bit
not,
longer. We need to customize something that's going to be 2 minutes tops. Now, and it's quite difficult to find that information online. Mostly the videos that are available are 5 minutes or more. It
Right.
goes 5 minutes all the way to an hour.
right,
So, and 5 minutes is really a lot of time to have a presentation.
right.
Videos is very and tricky tool. You can
Mhm.
create exactly the opposite effect that what you're looking for. But we can actually like a cut and paste part of it and put it right there. Kind of the information that I sent you, for example, it was coming from different videos.
Yep.
And we can include after, let's say, after the acquisition part, a little bit of Salesforce, how you implement the acquisition. After the retention, we have a little bit of information about exactly what you have to do. And after the upgrading, same thing. We could do something.
So
What do you
you
think?
could have a slide after this one, or for example,
No, not on the slide, but we could be just, I mean, we are at 30 slides right now, but maybe we can add to the slides that you already have something, maybe an addition.
okay.
Can include something about this, what exactly, what you have to do in the acquisition part in Salesforce, an operational part, no? What is the operational steps that you need to take? For example, acquisition, mass mailing, you got two options. You can download the Chipmunk app that is for free, or you can actually outsource to contact email, the other app that actually is a pay service, but it provides a little bit more for the money you're paying, and they will handle the entire strategy for you. And so the only thing I have to do is just collect the information of the people that is going into your website, and you got that information, you start working from there. Now, for example, something like that.
Okay.
I don't recall, but probably, let me see if I have the email that I sent.
I believe that I put that in my actual words too. So,
Okay.
so I'm reading through my notes here, and I actually have that, what the strategy would be. Yeah, so I actually verbally speak about this in slide 14. So if you look at the actual notes here, I actually speak about openly about using an email management system
Okay.
for the emailing and outsourcing, the mass mailing to vendors. So
iCloud, okay, offers.
yeah,
Perfect.
yep.
That's
So I'm
what it is.
speaking about that, but I can put another bullet point here just saying,
What is the application? What do you have to do? Something like that. No?
right.
The point that Sarah made is important.
Is it a possibility within Salesforce to get, I don't know if you noticed this day when you were looking at some of the stuff, but is there a space under the contact info to put the donor's place of employment?
Yes.
Okay,
Actually,
perfect.
you do have that. Actually, it's one of the features that they offer you. Very important
Okay.
for everything that
Yeah,
you.
because that if we can't get that, then a lot of like what we're talking about later with that cyber grant will be kind of useless if they don't have that information. Now, not everyone might volunteer it, but if they have it, they can use it.
And the reason is very important that all the staff needs to be very disciplined about filling out the information, as much information as they can, because
Yeah.
that's information we're going to use in the future for the other campaigns. For example, for the upgrading, for your part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we recommending something for the website, improvement for the website, Taylor?
Yes. Let's see here. First of all, one of the website improvements would be a pop-up window when you initially visit the site. That is a secondary way of us getting data or getting donor data that we could use. That is outside of donor data that we can either buy, purchase, or data that we get from the main office. So I've suggested that. Also in my words and also via my social media strategy, I also recommended that they put the stories that are more emotional and such on the front page. So one suggestion that I gave is that they need to model the actual page that is on the main site. So if you go to the main site and actually look at the tab for South Africa, how that front page is organized is better than how Hope South Africa's front page is. Because the first thing that you see on that page is a running video of, Dr. Mark speaking and of pictures of the children and things of that nature. So that was another thing that I've suggested in my words, in my speech, that I would, suggest. So we do actually implement that, website revamp into the social media aspect of the acquisition phase, and also, into donor data acquisition as well. So
yes, the format needs to be designed for somebody that is opening from the iPhone. No,
correct.
58% of those emails that we're going to send or the tweets are going to be open in an iPhone. And the idea is that they open the iPhone, the pop-up shows up, and there's a link, one simple link, a video, for example, with a 5 minutes or 3 minutes introduction. I receive actually, I will try to find out, but at this, I open there's a guy that is running in the primary against Trump, the former governor from Massachusetts, and the website is just awesome. I click the tweet, and it opens just one page on my phone with a YouTube video. You click on it, and it's in a speech of 3 minutes. That's it. It was just perfect. So something like that will be awesome if we can decide. It goes straightforward.
All right. I'm actually putting that in right now. Hold on 1 second. All right. Cool. So I've put that there. Just provide a better mobile version of the Hope Worldwide South Africa website. And I'll expand on that more.
Because it's true. I mean, 58% of those emails or tweet messages are going to be open in a mobile device.
Right.
I read all the stupid emails from my iPhone. I never do it from my Outlook. Never.
True.
I delete it there.
True.
Because you got nothing to do at night. You just start click on it, you open the things. I mean, that's the way it is, you know?
Absolutely.
Follow. Mhm.
Absolutely. All right. So I think one thing we can do here is the first thing we can do now is just look at slide to slide, where slides are being placed, right?
Okay.
Then what we can do is assign the slides so we all agree on the slide order. Then we assign the slides for speaking parts. And then whoever has the speaking parts for their slides can edit it however they want to, you know, moving forward so that they are comfortable with whatever they're speaking on, and, you know, providing the information that we need to. That way that everybody can kind of get down what they're going to say. They can say what they feel comfortable with. And then, you know, we can provide that information. Now, the one thing that we need to be aware of is that this is not going to be a traditional presentation. I've been told this already. It's going to be where we're doing the presentation and they're going to stop us. They're going to ask questions in the middle of the presentation. You have to think about that from a flow standpoint as well, that we're going to get stopped several times in the middle of what we're saying. So be aware of that, you know. And that might go into how we order this. That they're going to stop us, and it's going to be more of a conversation, you know. It's not going to be just we're going to get the information and wait till the end for questions, and then that's it. It's going to be more of a conversational presentation. So just be aware of that. All right. What we can do now is just go from slide 1 to slide 30 here. All right. So
Okay.
we have the opening slide here. Then this slide will be just your bios from the student Facebook that is provided. John, I reached out to Brooke just to get last year's student Facebook so I can get your photo and bio, and I'll put this in this slide here. And that's
Okay, I can get it if you. If she doesn't have it, I have. Because that was I wasn't working at my current job back then. A lot has changed.
okay.
I can just put my bio into this format.
Yeah, if you could, and then
And
just
I have my picture.
yeah, if you could send that to me, that would be perfect.
Okay.
And then this is when we can just individually, introduce ourselves here. And then, you know, what's the big idea? Here is kind of like the initial thing that we're trying to achieve here for them. And we're just reiterating, and we're speaking here in a term or in a way where we're saying, understand what your need is. We understand what you wanted out of this. You get what I'm saying? So off the bat, we're already telling them we understand what you needed from the get-go. This is something that I think last year's group did not do. They did not emphasize or show at the beginning that they understood what they needed out of that presentation. That was one of the criticisms, or one of the things that I heard that I got from Professor Cook, was that they did not communicate that clearly in their presentation last year. So I'm glad that we have this here, so that they understand that we know what you want, and this is what we're trying to achieve here. How do you guys feel about that?
We watched the video about persuasive presentation.
Right. Right. This was the slide that we put in after we watched that video. You know, we hit them up early with this. Sarah, how do you feel about?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think maybe the language could be refined a little bit, but no, I think it's good, and we're reiterating what they said to us, so they can't argue with that.
Yep. All right. So now from 4 to 5, now we're getting into the examination of Hope Worldwide right now. This is where we're really, really going to get their attention, because we're going to tell them, this is what you're not doing. This is what you need to work on. And then the following slides after this is, how do you achieve that? How do you get to the point of getting up to the level of other nonprofit organizations? So personally, I like that this slide is here so that we can capture them early and get their attention early, you know, so that they listen up and understand that this is what you need to do to achieve this. So again, open to how does everybody feel about the placement of this one here?
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Okay.
Let them know what we looked at, where we're coming from.
Yep. Jose, how do you feel about this one?
I feel okay. Yeah.
All right. John, you go with this one? Where it is? All right. 6 is just an even more examination of what they're doing. So that's a natural, continuation of this slide. So I think we're all okay with 6 too.
Do you agree with the things that are there as a examination of
yes.
a situation of?
Yes, and the reason why I say that is, for example, I speak about here in my part about the underutilization or using Google Ads more, and I give suggestions on that. Also speaking about digital payment systems, we talk about that. Capturing proper use of data, we capture that in the next couple of slides. So we're almost prepping them for what they're about to hear. And I like that we have that here. You know, and the great thing about these as well is most of these are hit on early in the presentation. You know, a lot of these are within the first 15 slides that we have beyond this point. So now we're getting them, we're kind of knocking out these bullet points early so that they kind of, now they're really tuned into really listening to the other suggestions that we have that Sarah and John are going to give after this point. You know, Sarah and John's suggestions are more of the creative side of what we're trying to do here. So that the parts that we're talking about, Jose and myself, that's of things that you can implement now. You can do this immediately with Salesforce. You can do these things now through 6 months. Sarah and John's parts are more of your longer term projects, your longer term things that you can implement. And that kind of naturally flows into a timeline at the end too. So if you think about just the slideshow in whole, my parts and Jose's parts are now to 6 months. And then John and Sarah's parts are more of 6 months and beyond implement. So you get what I'm saying? So like the levels, so like the donor levels, that's going to take time for them to kind of get that, to understand what those proper levels should be. That's going to take time. Doing the corporate matching program, that's going to take time to even get partnerships going. So I like that those parts are later in the presentation and that those are things that are more on the creative, long-term side of things. So, the long and short of that is I like that we have these here, these slides here, and then that leads into 7. So best practices. This is more of, now correct me if I'm wrong, Jose, this is where you talk about other nonprofit organizations and what they're doing compared to what Hope Worldwide South Africa is currently doing, correct?
Yeah, we are not mentioning specifically any other organization. We are just bringing best practices, all right?
Right.
That's
Right.
what we are doing.
Right.
What I'm going to mention in the donor cycle and every strategy that we have recommended in the donor cycle is what we have other successful organizations are doing.
Correct. And this is, again, this could be a slide that we use for foreshadowing. So we could put another bullet here that emphasizes Sarah's program about corporate matching and things like that. Just to foreshadow where we're going to go here. You know, we can also put another slide, another bullet point here that talks about what John is going to speak on, which is donor levels, things of that sort. So, you know, this is a great slide where it is because it foreshadows where we're going to go. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Sarah, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, I just think we need to be careful that, because I mean, I feel like we're now on like 3 slides that are all just like all doing very similar things. I just don't want to. I think we also need to be very careful, like on this slide in particular, about the best practice for implementation. Like, is that really what we're then suggesting later? Like, for sure, I mean, donor cycle, yeah, I mean, I feel like that's more like a philosophy and not really an actual, like, practice for implementation. Social media for sure, Salesforce for sure. Yeah, I don't know.
So when you take out this, so then you would take out this, right? Then you would put 2 more bullet points pertaining to, or 3 more bullet points pertaining to the thing you want to implement and John wants to implement. So that is truly a foreshadowing slide, if you get what I'm saying here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just looking back at the other one here.
Because we have a slide 2 slides down that is this. So that's communicating what the overall philosophy should be. You know what I'm saying? So you could take that and then 4 more bullet points just introducing what you guys will talk about. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think that's probably, yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. What does everyone else think? Maybe this is just me, like, I don't know. If everybody else likes it, I'm not gonna like outvote everybody.
Jose, how do you feel about it?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, it is not a best practice. Well, donor cycle is not a best practice. Maybe the division of the process into the areas of the donor cycle will be a best practice, but not the donor cycle by itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. John, go ahead, Sarah.
No, I was just gonna say, I think that this slide is actually interesting because I almost feel like this is something that we come back to at the end, like when we know exactly, okay, what is it that we actually told them to do? And then we go back and make sure that this slide in particular reflects that, because I think that's maybe a concern that I have, like looking through the whole presentation, is that at times I wonder if it's not quite like focused enough, if we're like trying to throw a little bit too much out there that's not really that developed, and it might not actually be as helpful as we want it to be. And I think that's going to be why, at least for me, why I'm kind of having trouble knowing what exactly this slide should look like, because I feel like I don't have a good grasp on like really what are the like 4 key takeaways from our presentation. But again, I don't know if that's just me because, or if you guys.
So this is what would help. The timeline slide is going to help with that. And the reason why I say that is the timeline slide is literally going to just re-emphasize the things that we are putting out there and putting a timeline implementation to that. That can, you can literally take that slide and give it to them after the presentation, and they'll say, "Oh, I understand."
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So
yes, whatever. So
I'm
basically, we
sorry.
want. No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think what we can use actually is the first part is just we are recommending different strategies in the 3 steps of the donor cycle. In acquisition, we are recommending email mass mailing campaign and social media enhancement. On retention, we are recommending the 3 different the automation process, and what John recommended about the different tiers of volunteer of donors.
mm-hmm.
And in upgrading, we are recommending the other
corporate
the matching and the all the strategies that we talked in the last email. No, so we can summarize in this part in those 3 areas. No,
right.
retention days,
Right.
in retention days, in upgrading
Right.
days, and then
Right.
this is what we're going to talk about.
Right.
And she's right. Maybe we can reduce the other 2 slides. Maybe
These,
introduce this, make this like the general introduction, what is coming, and then we develop every area individually.
So
what do you think about that?
So you're saying reduce these 2 or reduce?
So the best practices, we agree that this is the most important, correct?
Right.
Because we are pretty much presenting what's coming.
Right.
So let's use the acquisition, the retention, and the upgrade just to organize the ideas. So in acquisition, we got 2 main ideas: mass mailing, mass emailing campaign, and the social media enhancement, right?
Right.
In retention, what are the ideas in retention that we have, John? John? Are you there?
Sorry, I'm on mute. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes. No. What are the main ideas that we are recommending in retention?
Okay. Well, it's just mainly about following up. You know, the emotional, the donor tier programs, rewards programs, and I guess, and then I guess that's mostly it.
Yes, but we need to include automation here. We need to talk about that, because eventually when they have 2 million names, they need to handle this automatically. They need to have a system that help them to do it. So automation is very important to scaling the strategy.
Okay, so that needs to be added still, automating with Salesforce.
Yes, automation is descargas one of the apps. Something allowed. And in the upgrading, Sarah, what are the ideas?
So under upgrading, I have the main ones are basically revamping Heroes for Hope into a direct sponsorship program, and then the cyber grant corporate matching opportunity.
Perfect.
Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to write what you're saying. Wow. Let me see. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Let me look at something. I like that this slide is here because it's almost like a table of contents of what to see. No. So the wording of this, once we assign the slides, you guys can pretty much change this slide according to what you can assign for your slides. I'm just putting these in so that we have some type of template here. Sarah, can you do me a favor and just restate what your main points are for upgrade? Can you restate that? Oh, wait 1 second. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so it's revamped or rebrand, whatever you want to say, Heroes for Hope as a sponsorship program or something. I can reword it.
Okay.
And then the second is, and then the second one is
the corporate matching program, right?
yeah, the corporate matching. Yeah, corporate matching via cyber grant, or at least that's what we're proposing. So you might want to do something else.
Cyber grant.
Yep.
All right. Let me get that back into the same size. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Let me see this in actual presentation form. So your screen can change for a brief second. Hold on 1 second. Where is the? How do you just run this in presentation mode?
I think in the top right you hit present.
Ah, thank you.
No problem. So the only only question I have about that slide is, like, if you look at the examination, like, not everything that we bring up as a concern in the examination is
Answer. Mm.
kind of addressed in this next slide. I mean, we address it later, but it's, in my opinion, it doesn't show up in this slide. Like, for example, our concern about, why won't my computer go back there? Why the heck won't it go back? Yeah, I mean, sorry, my computer's like freaking out right now. Oh yeah, here you have it. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, do you feel like, or I guess I'll see what you guys think, but I mean, I don't think all of our responses to this examination page then show up in kind of this table of contents that we're setting out in the next slide. But I think some of that comes back to just my kind of fundamental concern about how we're grouping things, but I don't know.
Yeah, you are totally right. And the part that is missing is basically before that, we need to include that, hey, you need, guys, you need to start using your Salesforce. And that's the part that is missing, no? So before you start thinking about having an acquisition strategy that is going to be successful, you have to be able to keep that information somewhere, no?
Yeah.
The minimum things that you need to establish at this point is, hey, put your sales are operational. Because a lot of the problems they have is, hey, they are receiving names of the donors from the U.S. office, and they are not doing anything with that. Yeah? So there's no upgrading.
Do we almost put this, like, do the examination part, then talk about Salesforce or whatever the plan is, it's what we're going to present typically just about Salesforce, and then do this slide and say, okay, basically assuming you're using Salesforce, you actually are doing something with all the donors, like, what now? Now you have your donor cycle. I feel like that order might make more sense. I don't know what you guys think.
It makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
So
the operational implementation should be in a slide before, right?
So
yeah, maybe is 8 the one that had no? What's the slide of, like, specifically about Salesforce? I'm trying to see, but I think whatever. Basically, a conversation explicitly about Salesforce, I would think, would be in between the examination and best practices. I think, because our best practices are explicitly about what we do with donors once we know who they are, basically.
Yeah.
So, Jose, you were saying that so would you say, Jose, that you would want to do one specified slide on just Salesforce, or
mention Salesforce? So, because all the analysis that we do is basically, hey, you're receiving names, you're doing nothing. You got this social media, this website that is basically getting zero traffic. So we are telling us where they are, this is where you are, but at the same time, we should tell them where we want to be, right? Or where they should be.
right?
Where they should be starts with, hey, we need to have this your operational part working properly. If you have your operational part properly, so that's the first part, then we can have an strategies implemented, the acquisition and everything that is coming in that. So the point that Sarah makes is totally valid. I agree with her.
So should we have one dedicated slide with just Salesforce on it?
Yes.
I would, yes.
Okay. So
And
should
the things
Well-
that involve, because they have the information. For example, they receive the information, I don't know which format, probably in Excel, but that information needs to be clean just to make sure, hey, for example, you have a donor that is coming, that lives in, I don't know, in my case, in Miami, and the other lives in Fort Lauderdale, but hey, we are both donors from the state of Florida. Do we have that information there or not? So that's how you clean the data that you receive. So the data needs to be clean in order to be uploaded into Salesforce. That's work that needs to be done, of course.
okay. So should the slide be in between 4 and 5 here? So that is a transition between the big idea and the examination.
After the examination.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then it should be in
Between the
between.
examination and the best practices, we should talk about the implementation. Why we need to use the CRM system now? Why it's important? That will be the transition. As soon as you got your CRM, and as soon as you have information about your current donors, then we can establish these best practices that we have for you. And the best practices are these: in acquisition, blah, 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 in retention, blah, 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 in upgrading, blah, 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 blah.
Perfect. So I just put the slide here, why Salesforce. And Jose, do you feel comfortable with just,
Yeah, I can work on that.
just working on that one?
A few ideas, yes.
And then, okay. And then we're going to lead into best practices. Then, see, this, now I feel like it's out of place. This one.
No, this one can be in my part.
Yeah. So
Now we have a place. Yes.
let me just group that up, move that up.
Now we have a place for that one.
Yes. Perfect. So then here, best practices, AKA the table of contents, data and analysis. So should this one move closer to Salesforce? That could be a great lead in to the table of contents. This one.
So this slide, like the purpose of this slide is what? To show them that basically it's hard to get new donors, so capitalize on the ones you have. What's the goal of giving this data? Because I feel like that'll help us figure out where it should go.
We were trying to tell why it's important to have the mass mailing strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people doesn't understand what exactly we are trying to accomplish. Because we are telling, listen, you need to pay $30,000 for 10,000 names. And the next, why I'm going to do that? Because I'm going to send an email asking for money, and we're going to say, no, you're not going to do that, because if you do it, you will lose money.
Right.
Because the idea is to use those names of people who has donated in the past to another charity related to children to drive people into your website. We're going to sell them there. And that's why other successful charity organizations are doing it. They are buying, they're investing more in commercial email lists just to drive people to the website.
I know exactly where we can put this. I feel like we can put this here. So this slide is where we speak about acquiring donor data. I also speak about buying commercial data. Hold on. Let me put that in there. So I introduced that idea here, and then we hit them with why is this important? Or we could flip it and say, okay, this is what people are doing, or this is the actual stats, and then this is what you need to do. I feel like
Yeah.
it could go either way. So you could, so this is a natural grouping here too, because I speak about email subscriptions for nonprofits
Yeah.
here. Then we hit them with even more stats here. And then we talk about what they need to do.
That is the supporting that information
Mm-hmm.
or analytics from the acquisition part, specifically from the mass emailing campaign that is going into your site. So you can reduce it and put it in your slide or that's the idea.
Yeah, I think, no, go ahead, Sarah.
I was just going to say that looking at some of this data though, like I wonder, like for example, the third bullet point, like I almost feel like that should get pulled out and that could be something that John could use in his slide to support, because he's going to be talking about like a monthly donation program. And then I just wonder if like those data points each get pulled out and kind of placed on the individual slide where it's most applicable.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like one slide with like a bunch of data that they're probably not even gonna retain.
Yep, makes sense.
Okay. People don't donate directly from email messages. So I have this in my speech here. So we can take this out. Nonprofits receive I'm going to put this, and John, you can always change the order of your slide, the bullet point where it is. Slide.
Okay.
Let's put this
Yeah,
here.
it looks like on 21 is where he's suggesting basically mirroring what the parent company's doing. So it makes sense to kind of explain, hey, this is why we're making that recommendation.
Right. Let me get all the text in one size. Okay. Now is that the same? Okay. Let me go back to this slide. Take this out. So any slides that don't fit, we could just still put here. Kind of just like, there's no home form, so we can just put them here. Total online revenue grew by 23% after 15% growth in the year before. Email list grew by 11%. But fundraising messages, that is here. And actually, I need that in my speech. Actually, I can put that. I can put that. Use it. Man, this slide is getting. I'll adjust the slide once I once we, get everything straight from a flow standpoint, I'll make it cleaner and cut words. But I like that stat after we talk about, all of this stuff, which is focused on driving people to the website. I like putting that stat here after all of that, but I'll probably put it below the use free Google Ads to promote website and social media pages. I'll just flip that afterwards. So we got that. Each visit to the nonprofit website increases donations to 1.1%. Joint email list to grow to 1%. I can put that here. Matter of fact, I can put this here.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically the goal of telling them to have a social media presence, is to drive people to their website, which then increases donation response and increases their mailing list. So I think that makes sense.
Yep.
I wonder if you pull out, because I'm kind of concerned slide 15 is just like packed with information. Like, do we split that into more than one?
Yeah, I'll split it into two. So like this is going to be one slide, and then probably this is going to be another slide. Or I can split these up too. But I'll split them up once we assign slides and things like that. Yeah, because this one is long. It's a long slide. Like, it's a lot of information on one slide.
Yeah, and it's a lot of important stuff. So I don't want it to be like they don't get it because it's just they see the slide and it's like way too many words, and then we like lose them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So are we essentially just deleting slide 14 then?
Yes.
We've moved everything. Okay.
Yes.
Massachusetts, 1990.
All right. And then I can just get rid of this slide. Let me copy over my stuff though. I don't want to do that. Okay. Perfect. So I can get rid of this. Maybe if I don't duplicate it. All right. Cool. So, and the core values is so a website that is emphasized. That should be 12.
So you don't think there's going to be any overlap on kind of the first part of this slide and what Jose is talking about specifically with Salesforce earlier?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
If so, then this slide or this bullet point can be taken out. So Jose will probably talk about getting data and then utilizing it in Salesforce. But I'm specifically talking to them on what type of data they should get. So in general, Jose will be like, hey, you need to acquire data and use Salesforce for it. I'm talking about you need to get that information from your main office, from commercial data, and through a pop-up window on your site. And the main way that we need to do this, so the core strategy of all of this is to drive visitors to the website. So I can take out this bullet point, which actually helps with spacing, and Jose will just mention that, in general, we're trying to acquire data, utilize it in Salesforce. And then I'm specifically talking about this is where you can get this data from.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yep. All right. So, all right. This slide is, I think this probably can be moved up. This is the reason why I say this one can be moved up is because this is dealing with Salesforce and how we would want the payment screen to actually look like.
Yeah.
So this can be moved up to here after this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I would almost, I'm very much into a lot of visuals and presentations. I would almost, if we could, take a snapshot of what their current screen looks like and basically just touch on the fact that it's probably daunting for a lot of people as soon as they see all the fields. Put that directly side by side with the proposed simplified version or what we think it should look like. I'm sure they know what theirs looks like, but just even as a visual, that theirs has 20 fields that you need, and this one's 5.
Oh.
I could even input that. I know, I can take a little snapshot, not on my laptop, but on my
How your payment page looks like. And then the next slide can be the suggested change that it should look like.
Yeah. Yeah, I can even overlay the images so that we don't have so many slides as well. Have that one and then you click and they're the new one just could go right over top of it. Whatever you.
Yeah, that works. Because the less amount of slides, the better. Because we're already at 32. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we can have the old one, and then maybe I can have a red X pop up or something, and then have this nice clean one pop up over top of it.
Overlay.
So I guess technically the one we have will overlay over top the old one that I can put on.
Yep. Sarah will overlay current payment page with suggested payment page.
I'm all about the animations, guys, if you didn't see on my slide. The other ones they're gonna be oh, this girl just likes animation. Nobody else.
So
I'll just go through and add random animations to your slides.
So I just put a note there on slide 9. So when you go get the chance to do that, you kind of.
Yeah, I'll have to do it on desktop because I don't have. Well, I maybe could. It is way easier. I hate doing PowerPoint on a laptop, but Yeah, I can do that tomorrow morning. That's fine.
Okay. So I'll leave that there so that, you know, so that
Yeah.
you have that. So we're at the table of contents. So we're giving them a preview of what's going to happen. Then we give them the big strategy, reemphasize that again. Then just a transition slide to acquisition, showing them that we're going to focus on this now. Then these are the revamped acquisition slides after we talked about it. So this slide is mostly about social media because that is one of the first things I speak about in the table of contents. And then this leads into this slide that talks about the importance of social media in the overall emailing strategy. And I have a little spiel about, audience size and things like that for social media.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this slide out now because we put that data everywhere. Now I'm going to talk about, now that naturally leads into the donor acquiring portion of it. And, how do you exactly do that? And I also speak about the email campaign that we have as well. I'm going to expand on that here in this slide just to, specifically state, the emailing app that we would use via Salesforce for that. And I have it here in my speech part, but I didn't make it bullet points. So I'll go back and put that into slide 17. And then this slide here, so this is something that I wanted to put that kind of wrapped up everything that we talked about here and provoking emotion. And how does that all fit into kind of everything that we spoke about previously? So the picture here is evoking emotion. Naturally, what would happen here, and I'll say this, is that slide 17 and 18, or excuse me, slide 16 and 17 is probably where I'll show the social media site, the mock social media page that we have, and how that, kind of fits into driving people to the website so that you can get data and get them on the email list. And then probably a link within the emails or things like that would drive you directly to a page like this. So the girl sitting in there or a kid that is, directly affected by the program, and you have easy options to select here on payments. $1,000, $500, and you have another box here that says, do you want to make this a monthly gift? So easy, right in your face. You don't have to struggle to really put that information in. And then again, re-emphasizing our payment here for PayPal or credit card. So that's basically encompassing almost everything that we spoke about previously before. And that's a good wrap-up screenshot to lead us into the next part of what we're doing. You should get what I'm trying to get at here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if we make this page, is there a way we can make it specific to the Hope Worldwide? Like, can we take like a mashup of almost like that same image we had before of their payment screen, but then also pair it with a visual from their own website? I don't know. That might be my only comment. I definitely like driving home the fact of basically the goal of email, social media, everything should drive people here. But Yeah, I don't know. That might be my only thought, but maybe we could even.
Like, I don't even, like, literally, I don't. So their only payment page is the one that we would show up here. You get what I'm saying? So their payment page, we're already comparing in this slide. With they don't have another slide or another payment page that goes kind of to, you know.
I wonder if we could take the one that you just went to above, that was the main website, take that, but then like in like like an editor, like I could doctor it to look like almost like an example of like this is what yours would look like. I could superimpose like a picture of like one of the kids from their page with the payment screen, and then say basically like this is where people would go. I don't know. I could see if I could make something that looks decent, and then if
Okay.
not, I mean, we
Yeah.
can keep that and basically say, but it would be this is a
Yeah.
placeholder until this is done. But
So what you could do is introduce the idea here in this slide, then you would make another slide or a animation that will transition into what it should look like, your mock-up. If
yeah,
that. You see what I'm saying?
yeah. Sorry, I'm just writing something down for that.
Okay. So we can make it where if you're able to do it, that would be perfect. If not, we still have this slide here to show. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then after this slide, then we get into the retention slide here.
Yeah.
That'll be a natural transition into this. And then we talk about John's key points here. So let me see. The emails.
I think some of this we should be careful about tying it directly to like Salesforce capabilities and like what Jose has been talking about is like automated things. And I forget what the engagement plan, that's the word I was looking for. Like tied directly to that and not just like too generic. Like I'm not sure if that's just like the language in there right now, but because I don't want to make it sound like I think anyone there knows like, oh, it's important to thank them. Like I think it should be tied like very, very directly to Salesforce, to an engagement plan, to whatever else like we're trying to say.
Let me
I think.
What I think you can do here is have one bullet point that talks about kind of that Salesforce, the automation part of the email list. So, for example, like Jose talked about, Salesforce has the ability of automatically doing follow-up, right? Right, Jose?
Yeah,
Okay.
if you have the app
Right.
and you pay for it.
So again, this could be a suggestion. This isn't more of.
We can mention Pardot, the name of the app.
Has apps that allow
Automation.
Follow up.
For everything, it's automation of the process. It's not only
Yeah.
follow-ups. It does
Right.
everything.
Yeah, that bullet point right there is pretty much what we can put, just suggest these apps that they can use. We're not saying they have to use them as just a suggestion here. And that again ties it back to the importance of Salesforce and all this. So, hold on one second.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
I would say I think we could also stress at the same time though that we talked about before that the automated version gets paid for, but that's not to say that it's important that they have a plan no matter what, and they can do it for free, especially since they have like less than 100 donors right now. Like it's not going to take somebody full-time job to be following up with these people. I think we stress that right now they have to implement an engagement plan. I don't know how specifically we get into that. And then say, as you grow, Salesforce has the capability to make it automated,
Right.
save everybody time. But
Right.
I don't think we're
In the
going to
future,
at the level.
and that's the goal. In the future, when they already have an income stream that is predictable, they can start scaling in the process. Instead of
Correct.
sending 10,000 emails, now you can send 100,000 emails. So, and everything can be managed if you have a system that is going to do everything automatically. Depending on what different tasks that are going to happen. If it's a donor send money, it will activate automatically in a specific engagement plan. The thank you email, follow-up email, a letter, and a specific plan that you have for that. But you have different plans for different situations. Somebody goes to Twitter, clicks on it, then you have the information, automatically an engagement plan will be activated for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good point about tying it directly into social media, since we're spending a fair amount of time talking about that. Have a plan, like, as stupid as it sounds, like almost any kind of action someone can take on social media, like, oh, if somebody shares a post, if somebody likes a post, if somebody does this, like, those all trigger one thing. If somebody does something else, it triggers something else.
And allows you to do, the most important part is it allows you to do the testing. Let's say you have a website, let's use Little Nelson in one web page, and the other we use Little Winnie. And you can actually collect the data and see which of both of those strategies is more profitable than the other, and make decisions. So the data management is very important, because that's exactly where you should spend the money, the time, in analyzing what are the base strategies. The automation would allow you to do that.
Yeah. So I guess really our retention strategy, some of these people aren't necessarily donors yet, but we're trying to at least retain interested parties. Like, so if somebody likes your post, they're not actually a donor. They might just be somebody on social media, but we're still trying to retain their interest in a way. So maybe we just mention that's kind of like encompassing more than just donors at this point. But
Okay. So everybody is comfortable with where this went, right?
Yeah.
Okay. John, you feel comfortable where this slide is?
Yes,
All right.
but I'm here on the phone. I'm sorry.
since we're just railroading your slides, John.
Yeah, no, it's my computer literally just died, but I'm listening. Oh, like I'm trying to get it to turn it back on. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
That happened.
No, I definitely no. Okay, so does that mean that so are we going to be adding a new slide after talking about that?
I think so there should be a full slide explicitly about an engagement plan. I think, to me, that seems like a really important thing. CJ even mentioned that they have no plan, so I feel like that's where it needs a full slide. I don't know what you guys think.
Okay. Oh no, yeah, I don't know. I think that it definitely is. I'm sorry, I'm trying to turn my computer back on.
And then, I mean, I can also circle back to it then more explicitly in my slides about upgrading. Because I think it'll make a little bit more sense as well. Like, you know, we've already kind of set the stage. John talked about engagement plan, just to like retain interest, and then I'll circle back and add, like I said, add more explicit comments about an engagement plan for some of these upgrading strategies.
Okay. John, do you feel comfortable after this discussion with doing this slide?
Okay, so for this one, on this site, so this is where we're just going to talk about the apps, and okay, and we have the information about those. Do we need so I know that Jose sent those screenshots by email. That would probably be helpful right there.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean.
So I would say here is where, Jose, if you have more information on these apps, this is where you want to put them in so that John can speak to them. Is here. This implementation plan for retention. Because we have here after getting increase in revenue, you can turn to these apps for automation.
Okay.
So we get, that kind of emphasizes what we're trying to do, but we can put just, a bullet point that just lists out, you can use these apps for this. Here are the apps. Here's what they kind of cost. Just a simple, this is the app name. This is how much it would cost a month. And give them like 2 or 3 of them. That doesn't have to be a lot of additional research or anything like that. Just names and amounts, monthly amounts. But I think this part of the bullet is important to emphasize, is that this is doing that automation is after you get your revenue up. And then we probably want to have another slide here that just talks about, at first you want to do it manually. I don't know how you will word that, but if I'm getting what you guys are saying, you're saying that the first part of this should be just on your own, just manually using Salesforce scheduling abilities and doing it manually. Correct?
Yep.
Okay.
An engagement plan designed to do that. So an engagement plan should be activated for every, in this case, donor that you have, depending on the label. We talk about the different, the simple donor and the guy that donates $1,000, for example, $10,000 should receive maybe a personal phone call from the director, and the other should receive a thank you letter, and the other should receive just an email.
Right.
So you will activate a specific engagement plan for each type of donor.
So
The more money they donate, more exclusive and more personal will be the response.
Mhm.
general,
So this helps be a more logical flow into your proposed tier system. So maybe that's why it'll have to get shifted up to be right after this.
more generic. Generic. More generic retention plan. Higher level don't will get a more personalized and then naturally there's probably going to be questions around that, so we can expand on that either in the presentation or uh, at the end when they ask questions about that, because I'm sure there will be questions about that one.
There
But
will be questions, not at the end, all the time.
yeah. All right. So we okay with this being here? This is just an example of a retention plan here. Now, is this I'm guessing this is a email response, John, or is this?
Oh no, that's just a screenshot from their website when you go to click and go donate.
Okay.
I know it's okay. Yeah, this can definitely be moved somewhere else because it kind of seems like it's like floating in the middle of.
I like this because this could be a mock email that they get or a language that they use in the email, follow-up email. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How do you guys feel?
Yeah, like you mean to like get somebody to go from, like this is what you send somebody after they donate once and then you
Yep,
want them to continue. Yeah, that makes sense.
absolutely. And I like this too because think about it this way. This is a one-time donor, right? We lead them into this email, and then to really get on, you can do the different levels. So you're starting with somebody donates, they get this email.
Could you put the slide up again from the labels, the 23? Okay, those are engagement plans. That's exactly what an engagement plan is. You see all the points?
Right.
Yes. Every point will have a specific day after the first contact is made. Let's say 2 days after they make the donation, we will send a thank you email. A week after that, we're going to send a quarterly newsletter. And after that, we send the early video, another video. And when they become a recurrent revenue, we send a t-shirt. That's a specific engagement plan. That needs to be done manually at the beginning. Later on, all those will be done automatically. That's the idea.
So should we keep this here?
It seems like it should probably go immediately after 21, I would think. So moving it up one. I mean, if he's talking about it basically talks about it in words and then shows an example of how the parent company is doing it.
So if I'm hearing this correctly, this is how you can kind of group your donors together to implement their retention plan.
Yes, the retention plan is the implementation and a specific engagement plan according to the label of the nation they do. Because if you do less than $100, first label. More than $100 and less than 500, label 2. Between 500 and 1,000, label 3. More than $1,000, label 4. So we got 4 different plans of engagement depending on the label of the donation. And the last one, and the most expensive, I'm expecting this guy is going to pick up the phone and call them and thank you for that donation.
Got you.
You know, it's extremely personal. Maybe follow-ups once a month. Because somebody that gives you $1,000 can give you another $1,000 later in the future.
Got you.
So this is purely a question of semantics, just because I want to make sure that as we referenced it throughout the presentation, we're all on the same page. So it's overall, it's an engagement plan, and then there's like a specific plan for retention, or, because I wrote down engagement plan, but then we're talking about retention plan. Is that like a subcategory of an engagement plan? Or are they synonyms? Like, I just want to make sure we're all using the same language.
An engagement plan, Sarah, is just a protocol for a specific goal. In this case, is rewarding a specific donation, right? And trying to work our way up to an upgrade. So every campaign that we're gonna have in the future will have a specific engagement plan. Let's say that guy, the hero that donates $1,000, now is motivated. So maybe can be one of our volunteers in the future, right? So when we start the volunteer campaigns, we'll get his name and other heroes, and we'll establish a specific engagement plan to make them volunteers of Hope Worldwide South Africa, the international volunteers, no? The ambassador for Hope program. So, and this is when we can actually, because we know that guy works for Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola is part of the in the caregiving program, so we can actually initiate an engagement plan just to tell them, listen, you donate $1,000, please go back to Coca-Cola, use the matching program, and send us another $1,000. It's for free. It's available for every charitable organization that you choose. No, we can create a specific campaigns once we have the information. So in every campaign, we'll have a specific process and a specific engagement plan that we will activate depending what is the goal that we want. It could be matching, it could be volunteers, it could be recurring revenue, whatever you want. Salesforce just gives us the chance to put everything in a calendar, no? So those 4 contacts that we're gonna have are gonna be in a month. When exactly? So when you get into your office every day, you go to your calendar and you will see tasks. A task for every single prospect or donor that we have. So today I have to send 20 emails. You send 20 emails, you make 4 phone calls, you do this, you do that, the teachers, etc. So you know exactly what to do every single day.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. How do we feel about, well, this slide probably needs to now be moved up to here. And the reason why I say that is because then you introduce that. Or do you put it in between here and then you introduce that? Does that make sense? So like,
I mean, Do you think if we have different tiers in slide 22 in the graphic versus in 23?
Well, so the difference is that we're actually introducing the amounts of the tiers.
So 22 is just, that's a monthly amount versus 23, that's sort of their lifetime donation amount.
I'm thinking that is.
Because I just right now, unless you clarify, I think it's going to be confusing to have those two things. And I think, I mean, really, you might use not even need both the slides. I mean, you might just use the graphics and just really expand upon each one. Because there's a lot of overlap anyways now in 22 and 23, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think.
The top part of this is introducing what you would get. See what I'm saying? We can just take out the amount because we don't need to determine that. They would determine that. These are just the introduction of what your rewards would be per level.
So are these lifetime donations?
Monthly.
Like, since I started donating to Hope Girl Guide South Africa, in total, I've donated $750. So I'm a level 1 donor versus if I've donated $1,200, now I'm bumped to level 2. Versus slide 22, those are tiers for monthly donations. Like, that's why I just feel like there needs to be maybe clarification, because I don't know. I mean,
So we can do this. This would be 4. There's 4 levels, right? This is 4. Level 1 can be you're getting merchandise and a mention on social media. Maybe at level 1 you just get merchandise or t-shirt. So now you're matching. So now you're just matching the 4 levels that are here. Again, we don't want to establish what that amount would be because they would determine that per their own data on their end. Also, this is monthly. So we want to keep this in the same time frame as this.
well, I guess what I'm getting at is the previous slide already outlines what you're getting. Like, it says if you're a champion, you get a community membership, a newsletter, early access to videos, and a t-shirt.
Okay.
So
we could just take
feel
this
like
out.
I'm just not understanding what new information is being presented here that's not on the last slide.
Okay, so then we would take this out then.
Well, unless I'm just not understanding it. That's why I'm wondering if this is like.
No,
Well, the slide 22 was just like an example of how somebody else is just like an example of best practices, and then the one that on 23 that was the other ones that we came up with, but we never really talked about it that much. So I mean, yeah, that was the only difference, because unless we were just going to recommend that they copy from Hope Worldwide directly, and don't try to come up with their own stuff.
Right.
Okay.
That's what I mean is that we have to provide incentives that are different than what Hope Worldwide, the main office, is doing. Because then we're just copying what they're doing. You see what I'm saying? There's certain things on here that we may not be able to provide to them.
Yeah, because they are here in the States.
Right. So
They're African.
these incentives here might have to be different per Hope South Africa's own limitations. For instance, like the Hope main office isn't giving the incentive of you have a direct sponsorship with a family through a home visitor. That's not possible with the main office because they're doing something different. You know, the main office isn't really speaking about black tie dinners or being invited to those. That's unique to South Africa. So this can be used as the unique gifting levels that we can suggest to Hope South Africa. Because, you know, again, there could be differences in what they can actually provide to them. And we don't want to just copy whatever the what we're giving to them because they may not be able to provide that to them. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and again, this is for monthly amounts, per monthly amounts. So it's all on the same scale. And again, they would determine how much each level would be on their end.
Yeah. I think what might make a nicer presentation then than like how we're doing it would be show the example one and then have like your idea for a champion, have a text box pop up over therefore suggested, like what's the word I'm looking for? My brain's like, okay, but therefore like returns that you get or gifts or whatever. Have a box pop up over top that of the ideas that you think they might have. That way it's like kind of follows along the same thing and it shows like, I don't know. I feel like that might make a better kind of presentation than just going to the next slide and just having like a list of things. And I think it'll make it clear that we're not suggesting those that are on 22, but rather our own things.
Pop-up animation, overlaying. Sorry.
Oh wait, John, are you talking? You're muted.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, okay. So like, just put like a text box over, like, okay. And can that easily be done just directly on here? Because I don't want to try to make like this art project. Like I don't, because I have no talent when it comes to like sort of. Okay.
Yeah, you'll go in and like put a text box, and then you can. I think if you like right click, you can say that you wanted to overlay the current image. And then you can do one at a time. That way you can show this one and kind of talk through it and what this is the main author is doing, and then be like, but this is our specific suggestion. So then like click, and the champion one will pop up over their 4 bullet points, and then after it'll pop up over. If you need help with it, or if you at least get the text box there, like I could always format it if you're not sure it's not working right.
Just say what to do. Okay, I think I can do it. And if it looks horrible and you're not, and you don't like it, then fix it. But I know. Okay, I think I understand. No, I think that's okay. No, that's a much better plan than what we had because, and we won't put the specific amount. We can leave that up to them.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is the Home Office. I mean, they're raising a lot more money than South Africa, so I feel like they probably know what good target marks are. So realistically, they'll probably come in about the same, whatever, 10, can't even read it from here, whatever they are, 10, 30, 50, and 100. Like, but yeah, I would say we can leave it open to them. I mean, what they're seeing, but yeah.
All right. Cool. So we have this here. Just re-emphasizing what they would get. Then we have this screen, again, which is what they would possibly see if you make one donation. That is an email to incentivize them to become a monthly donor.
Yeah. So I feel like that would probably be more of an upgrading strategy if you're trying to get somebody to become a monthly donor. I mean, what do you guys think?
You can move it.
Not trying to steal your slides, John, but
No, I mean, and honestly, no, that's better than what I had in mind for it, because for me, that was just like a screenshot from a website where, because my whole point was for this was that it was supposed to be, when you read it, it's just about how important it is to make people realize that it's easy to do it, so they don't feel intimidated like it's going to be a lot of, so it actually does make more sense in that area. So
yeah. I mean, maybe we add something else in your section, like an example, I don't know, like an example of an update that you might get, like, hey, you donated so much per month, and now that was able to do X, Y, and Z. Like, I'm sure you could find another nonprofit that, like, screenshot that you could include in there, because that would probably be more applicable to your section. Like, get people feel like, I donated, I know what my money did, and I want to stay with this organization because they're putting my money to use.
that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, that definitely makes sense. Okay. So just like okay, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, I could look around too if you want, since I just follow your other one.
I mean, and then, okay, this one that we're on right now was, it was like supposed to be a sample from social, because we had talked about doing like something on social media for like featuring a donor, but then I just created this line which just has a title, and I don't know where I was going with that. Actually,
I just changed.
I guess it was.
I just changed it to sample appreciation email for donation. So you
Okay.
can put that there.
So I don't have to worry about like what we're like giving an example of like the social media stuff that we have.
No, so for that, we're going to show that. We're going to show that earlier in the presentation.
Okay.
Where we have those 3 posts that hit different sections of our strategy. But I actually want to literally give them my phone and show them the page. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. So that might be something that we do at the end, where we present what we have or the things that we're going to give them at the end.
Mhm.
Okay. I was gonna say, because we could always take snapshots and like put them in the slideshow back up earlier in your social media section.
Yep.
So that it's all in there. I don't know.
Yeah, we can do that. I can certainly do that once I do the post.
Or even if we could even take another like snapshot or two from like from another charity that's just doing a good job at posting as well, so they can just see. I mean, as stupid as it sounds, just see what like a good post looks like. But I'm sure we could easily find that like on Instagram or something.
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that. So this is where you would put your sample appreciation email after a donation. If you can find that, that'll be perfect, and just put it here.
Okay.
All right. Now on to upgrading. So,
All right. So this slide, to be honest, I need to rework it because
okay.
I haven't touched it since I put the other slides in. But I think it'll be easier now that the rest of the slides are like done. So it's just a matter of basically I'm going to say we added the other slide. So using the engagement plan to try to promote existing donors to increase either the monthly amount, increase from single to monthly, or increase from $100 at one time to $10 a month. So I need to add, I'm going to basically add on to that orange slide that we just moved.
Okay.
Maybe, can we put that, I think maybe you put it at the end. Might it be 30? I can't see. Yeah, can we move that one to be the first? I'm going to put that at the beginning. So I feel like that's kind of the most, after 27, after the overview. Because I feel like this is the most like simplistic upgrading strategy. It's like email people and just see if they'll do more, basically. And then I'll talk more about the engagement plan and as it relates to upgrading specifically. And then basically, then we have the Hero for Hope sponsorship program, which will be kind of a side monthly thing in addition to like just the generic give $10 a month. And I'm assuming the price points of these will probably be higher.
Sorry.
But I'm not sure if we should directly say anything about that. But I think this will be a more like unique, more personalized, and likely a more expensive program than just like the generic one like that John was talking about earlier. I mean, certainly like sponsoring a center is going to be a lot.
Okay.
And then the next one I have is the corporate matching strategy, which I haven't put any speaker notes in. Sorry, guys. But yeah, so that'll be basically, we'll talk through how that will link up with data we're getting from Salesforce. If we get any donation from anyone that checks off any of the companies represented by Cyber Grants, basically, actually, I think I have a bunch of notes on slide 30 that I'll just divvy up between the two, but basically what Jose said about, or maybe it's on the next one, I forget where I put them, but who knows, I'm confused, but I saved them somewhere. But yeah, so basically follow up with them, ask them to get their corporate match, see if they'll become an ambassador, all that jazz. And then 31 is a little bit more detail. Oh, that's what it is. This slide is still need to like make it actually look appealing. But this is basically where we're going to talk through the exact strategy of how to take advantage of the corporate matching. So yeah.
All right.
So I don't know if there's any other upgrading strategies that you guys specifically want to mention. That I here.
Yes, one more. The volunteer program, because we can, as soon as he is somebody that is motivated, we can recruit him to become a volunteer, international volunteer. and they can start, for example, a crowdfunding campaign on their own. So this is something that we should be able to do because we have that capability through Salesforce. Sally?
Okay.
We
So I
sent
can
the
kind of
information.
tie this to the, like, do I say once they hit a certain donor tier that John mentioned earlier that they are, you know, then they become a target for the volunteer program, or what do you guys think? Because I don't think we want to bombard like any Joe Schmo that donates $10. Like,
Right.
No,
they're not motivated, but
it depends on the demographics. Let's say that one of the donors is, I don't know, a member of Georgetown University, undergrad. You know, maybe they can start a crowdfunding campaign.
yeah,
His friends, you know, something like that. Not something that is specifically done for everybody, because not everybody's going to start crowdfunding campaign. I don't know what are the requirements, but I'm pretty sure that there's a demographic for people who does this. You know? I haven't done it, you know. I don't know.
okay, yeah, I can definitely add some stuff about volunteering, about the volunteering track, because I mean I know that's something that I think it was Mark, you know, specifically said that they would love to get more people on the volunteering track. So yeah, so I can
What
definitely do
about,
that.
I mean, I'm saying Georgetown students, but it could be like high school students. No, let's say in a specific high school, hey, let's create a crowdfunding campaign so you can sponsor your own center. We provide that information about the center, make it in class, and emails, and something that I can work with the school actually. No,
Yeah,
that would be one of the upgrading and volunteer programs as well.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, and I have a feeling that one of the demographics would just be kind of millennials and younger people in general are I think a little bit more motivated to do things like this. I could probably even find some stats about that to just like sprinkle in to make it seem like we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll definitely do that.
Basically, the idea is to just let them know that we have those capabilities through the Salesforce. We just need to activate it. The worst works, I mean, they can find a way to do it fine. It's one of the capabilities they have. And I'm sure there's a lot of people, a lot of organizations that are doing crowdfunding for as a main source of income.
People, like, I see people all the time, like, oh, it's my birthday, like, donate here instead of giving me a present. Like,
that's
you're
right.
ambassadors.
Oh, I saw one in Facebook, actually. One of my friends actually sent me one of those links. Don't send anything for my birthday, just donate to this organization. That's what we do with Sally, and that's one of the strategies that we can use in the upgrading part.
Yeah. Taylor, can you write that down so I don't forget?
What do you want to write here?
Just write down like birthday present or birthday donation, and I'll remember what it was. Thank you.
And the app is Sally, like Sally Mae.
Hold on, guys. I have to grab my phone charger.
And the word is crowdfunding and peer-to-peer marketing.
Okay. All right. So this slide here is where I'm going to just assign this to myself. And the reason why I say that is this is where I will show the model, financial model. I'll put in stats here tomorrow, just basically answering these questions because I have them. So I'll to these questions and fill in, where their X's. I can just put in whatever my assumptions currently are. So I'll explain on that. And this is again where I will actually show the model and show what is capable with it. How does everybody feel about that?
I'm fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right. So this one. How do we feel about this one?
That's a lot of information, right?
Yeah. I think this is like the overall implementation G slide that would then go into the timeline slide. So this is like general information on how you would do the entire implementation process. And then you would give them the specified suggested timeline.
So that looks like pretty much all, I mean, that's, what is this, slide 34, this looks pretty much all like implementation of Salesforce.
Yes.
Is that accurate? Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to read through what exactly it says.
Okay, let me make it bigger for you.
Okay, perfect. I mean, is there a reason that we wait, if this is specific only to Salesforce, is there a reason that we're not getting into this just when we're talking about Salesforce earlier? Or is it because just
It was
in
like
general,
a kind of a closing. Okay, all this, how we implement it, this is the time, and this is the things that you need to do.
And
It will take approximately 6 months to implement it.
And because of the importance of Salesforce, we probably need a separate slide just for Salesforce.
yeah.
Just for
So
Salesforce.
maybe it's a, yeah, I could see doing it at the end, yeah, because like we told them they need it, and then we spent 30 slides showing them how they're going to use it and why, and then here's all the work that goes into it, but hey, it's totally worth it. We just told you 30 slides of why.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just personally think the heading needs to be more explicit of like, that this is about Salesforce.
I don't know if you feel that it's fine to keep that one at the end, or we just stick with the information that we have. We have a lot of information, by the way. Man. I thought that this one is important, but it doesn't have to be provided, actually.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it there, honestly.
Yeah, I think the order is fine. I think, personally, I think there's just a lot of words on it. So if there's a way to streamline it a little bit, just so that it's more user-friendly. But yeah, the more I think about it, I think the order is actually fine.
Okay. And then, like we talked about, Jose, just I'm the worst speller. This is where you would just do literally that now. Here's what we would do 2 months, 3 months from now, these things. So you're just recapping what we talked about all through here, but giving it a time frame when it should be implemented.
Well, I just I said six months on the last slide.
Yeah.
which is about that, between 6 and 9 months, ballpark.
Yeah.
Takes time. The system is not user friendly.
Right. And you can put that, you can re-emphasize that in this timeline where you're, you know, recapping or, you know,
Yeah.
kind of tying up all that. And
So the main idea is maybe something, yeah, it will take 6 months. You need to have an administrator that is knowledgeable. If you don't have one, you better hire one. While the permanent administrator in your organization learn. You need to have, basically what Salesforce recommends is the user, which is obviously the staff, the administrator, and a hero. So there's always somebody in the organization who really understands and knows how to use this. It is the nerd. It is the one who goes to the trainings. He loves it. He's engaged, and he teach other people in the organization about Salesforce. So they encourage to find one of those guys that are going to be the guy who provides advice about it.
mm-hmm.
So there are 3 labels, in other words, of employees: the administrator, the staff, and this hero, these people who will learn how to use it and will teach and encourage other members to get on board.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the thing.
But
This is another thing that you have to do. Not everybody will understand that this is important, and sometimes people won't take the trainings because, they just then don't feel it.
Right.
No,
No,
sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead. Sarah.
Oh, me? I was saying they can get free training though, right? Because I hesitate telling them, having one of the solutions be to hire someone. Like, I don't know how well that's going to go over with their, especially
Yes.
how they're about to lose this.
There are videos available, and there's a community that is called Trailblazer. Actually, Trailblazer will have a meeting on May 16 in Johannesburg that they can go and meet other people that are users. This community is online, it's 24/7, and basically you will go there and you will find best practices from other organizations around the world that are using these exact methods and those apps. So you want to learn how charging the payment app works. So you go to this community and read the post of other organizations that are using it. You ask questions, you put your ideas. So it's very, it's a good tool that Salesforce provides you, no? And the magic of YouTube, there's 1,000 videos about how to use Salesforce in YouTube for free.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It seems like it.
Yeah.
And you can, all that stuff, you can verbally kind of emphasize that when we wrap it up. When you get to the point of, in the timeline, you will put, you need to hire somebody to do this or do training within that timeline. You can just emphasize verbally, hey, you have these resources here. You have either paid resources or you have free resources. You can just verbally say that in the timeline. So
yeah. So Salesforce is free like a puppy. Somebody gives you a puppy, hey, this is for free. Perfect. But now you have to feed it, you have to take it to the veterinarian, vaccines and everything. So yeah, it's free.
Yep.
The good thing about this, the strategy that we gave him, is it doesn't have to be implemented all at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They can start progressively.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So it's scalable. That's what we said at the beginning.
Yep. So I think we got it, y'all. Now the thing is, I think the assigned speaking parts is really going to be based off of who did what. like it seems pretty equal. Jose, you might have a little bit more because you are emphasizing in Salesforce, and we are doing a lot of Salesforce stuff. But I think it's pretty equal weight-wise for everybody. Let me hold on one second.
We could do it a different way. What if we, in terms, the first part is the things that I'm supposed to say. Let's divide that between you, the three of you, and I participate with each of you and everyone. So in other words, I provide the support like the Salesforce implementation in acquisition, like Salesforce implementation in retention, and the Salesforce implementation in upgrading. I don't know.
Yeah. So
instead of having just the first part and the last one,
yeah.
you do the first one. Let's say Taylor do all the introduction, make something close directly, and I participate in every stage.
Yes, absolutely.
With ideas.
Absolutely.
So the idea, and I said, because if they will ask questions, maybe I can answer those questions at a specific time, no?
Absolutely. So what I mean by assign is just who is the initial person giving the information on that slide first. So anybody can come in and give their, information that could help enhance that slide. You know what I'm saying? So when you see assigned to, that just initially means this person is introducing the slide and giving the initial information to the slide. Anybody can enter naturally where they need to and provide information. Again, this is going to be more of a conversation versus a traditional presentation. So you can always butt in if you need to.
Yes, and the idea is we have a flow. So you guys explain what are the strategies, and I just said the last part, the implementation of Salesforce, period. So this is how you do it. This is how you're going to download the MailChimp. MailChimp will do this, the iCloud will do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you download Sally, for example, no? How you implement it. Or we talk a little bit how works the engagement plan in the retention part, no?
Right. So you would have these. Are you comfortable with that, Jose, or do you want me to go through these? So this is like the examination of Hope South Africa right now. These two slides. Do you want to do those? Because
I can do it. Yeah, I can do it.
Okay. Yeah, because it naturally flows. It naturally flows into why Salesforce.
Okay, perfect.
All right, and then if you want me to do the digital payment apps for Salesforce, I can, or you can do it. It's either or. Because I think we both have a good idea of.
You do it. That's fine.
All right. And then, yeah, that naturally flows back into that overlay about, what Hope Worldwide current page looks like, and then we show them what it should look like. And then,
so 9 and 10 will become one slide.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Right. And then I can kind of run through this because this is just a table of contents part. And then again, with this stuff, this is a primary slide that we're probably all going to interject in while I do it. Just to give people a heads up of what's coming. You're probably going to interject and say, give, even more information pertaining to this stuff. And this is just a table of contents of what they're about to see and then it naturally flows into the acquisition stage, which I'll do. Hold on. So I've already written this stuff. Now I'll put my name there. And then it goes into John's part. And then John has these slides. Again, you can always,
Okay. So I wouldn't be talking about this part anymore.
no, you would.
Oh, okay.
But
So
again, we, people can interject in and give more information when you write your part in your sheet. You get what I'm saying?
oh, okay, that would be great. Okay, actually, that would be great because so he can answer the question if they have anything about it.
Yeah.
Because no, I definitely understand the information, but I don't yeah, I think you would be better at answering the questions. But that makes perfect sense. I totally understand.
Okay.
And I mean, I was gonna ask about all the demos and stuff. I mean, I have this like the information from the demos that you gave us and stuff. But if I wanted to go get more information, can anyone do it?
As in, like,
Like going to the videos.
Oh, like switching it over. Like, can you explain more?
Like I've got the information that Jose shared with us about the from the demos and stuff, but I was wondering like if I wanted to go do a demo myself, would I be able to do one?
How do y'all feel about that?
You just mean on your own to like better educate yourself, or you're talking about as part of the presentation?
Oh, I meant just to help myself understand better.
Yeah, I think there's tons of like
I didn't
videos.
understand. Do you want to review the demos that I sent you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, just click on them, or their links. They're YouTube.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And
All right. So then we have all these. I'm pretty sure. All right. So it's still breaking down by the strategy that we assign to each other. So then we go to Sarah, and you're comfortable with these slides, right, Sarah?
Yeah, that'll be good.
All right. Do you mind if I delete this number 1 here?
Oh, yeah, let's go for it.
I didn't know if there was like data on this already or not. So
No, I think I had other notes and then I moved them somewhere else.
oh, okay. Okay. Now everybody's comfortable with this transition, so it's going to be a little awkward. So it's going to go from Sarah to then myself, and then to
I mean, another slide in and just say like, well, you might have said something about like, what does this look like for Hope Worldwide or something? Yeah, right after when I'm done, and then that way we go to that, and it's like obvious that we're done, kind of recommendations, and on to looking to the future or whatever, or yeah, something like that. What is, yeah.
You know, I believe that we should delete my last part. the implementation, the time frame. I don't think it's that will stop the flow.
Yeah.
There's no
We could always
place
like-
for that. I mean, if they ask, we can actually explain them what ideally
Yeah.
would be that time frame. But to have
Is
it right
there any-
there, it doesn't.
Oh.
For me, I don't know.
Yeah, do we have any other information that we're putting in like an appendix or anything that we could include those details, or do we not have any other slides like that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, we can, so here's the thing. We can put the timeline slide there, but we don't have to initially get to it or explain it fully in depth. You know, it's one of those things where we're giving this to them with all the notes in it. So if we get it or get to it, we can stop it right here if we really wanted to. And then we can speak about these things. But that's going to be probably a conversation that involves all of us with these type of Salesforce implementation and the implementation timeline. Those things might be something that's a free-flowing conversation at the end and can naturally lead to the end of the presentation. They're probably going to ask a lot of
We
questions.
need a conclusion, and that's it. Let's eliminate my part right there. We go for the big idea. This is what we're going to do. This is where you are. This is where we want you to be. This is how we're going to do it.
So,
Blah, blah, financial analysis, conclusion, done.
okay.
Yeah.
That's it. The closing, in other words. The closing argument.
Mhm.
So should we really put, so what should we put in this slide here?
Well, I think part of the financial information that you have, we're going to increase, by doing this, we're expecting that we're going to increase the next amount of money your revenue,
Oh, so
X percentage. That's why you're going to do all this.
got you. So then this slide would be the conclusion.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay. All right. So then do you want me to take out the timeline slides? So for instance, what you could do is keep the slides here, but not mention. And then
In
you
case
give
they
them,
ask, can we put it back?
you said what?
If they ask, hey, what is the time? How do we do this? How long is going to take us? Then we got that slide somewhere. Can we do
Yeah.
that? I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
So what we
In other words, can we hide it and then, bring it back in case we have the question?
Ooh.
Yeah, I think
No, go ahead, Sarah.
no, it wouldn't. I mean, it wouldn't be hidden, but I think maybe we put another one of the
PowerPoint.
header slides and just say like supplementary info or appendices or exhibits or whatever, and then we could have any other information that we want to put.
Okay, maybe we can have another 2 PowerPoints open.
So just an appendix slide, and then you can do this like that.
Yeah, and maybe in the next, because they're gonna get a copy of this presentation to keep,
Yes.
like a digital copy. I mean, maybe we could put like in 37, we could just put a bunch of like useful links. Because I know we've found a bunch of good videos and stuff like that, especially as it relates to Salesforce. So maybe we could throw a bunch of those in there too for their reference, and maybe links to like specifically how to, like that one video or whatever we watched about Chargent, or a link just even to like the website where they can get that app. That might be helpful.
Okay. All right. So I think we got one here. So I think we're good, y'all. The only difficult thing now is that Professor Cook wants us to somehow do a rough run tomorrow of speaking parts. I don't know how, with so much information that we're going to give here, I don't know how we can do that. But
I can do it tomorrow. I'm flying on Wednesday, and I have to do a lot of stuff tomorrow night.
yeah,
So it's not gonna be able.
we can. So here's the thing: we can say tomorrow night we're just going to walk them through it, not giving a specific language on what we're going to say or anything like that, but we're walking him through this. You get what I'm saying? And then each person's assigned slide, we can just talk to the slide on what we're trying to convey here, rather than say, this is exactly what we're going to say. Because honestly, the other groups that have stuff written out, they're going to change what they're going to say too at this point.
Yeah.
You know, so tomorrow is just going to walk him through the flow of this, and everybody who has an assigned slide can just talk to it, talk to their slide, or talk about their slide and why they put in certain information. You know, because it's not realistic for us to say we're going to have all this written out, everybody's speaking parts written out by tomorrow. It's not possible.
No.
So, but I would say that you probably do want to have your part written by, if possible, Friday this week, so that whenever you're traveling or getting there, you can take time to study what you're writing, and obviously put in, you know, the finishing touches to this for your parts or parts that we agreed to add on to by Friday, so that, you know, Saturday, Sunday, and part of Monday can just be used on memorizing your speaking part.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, speaking of today, I do not get in until 5:30.
okay.
So I'm not sure. I mean, I'm to land at 5:36, it says. So I'm not sure what that means for actually getting to the hotel. I don't think it's going to be, probably won't be for a while after that.
Yeah, and you're going to be tired. For a 17-hour flight, you know. So
Right?
I'm going to talk to Professor Cook. We'll talk to Professor Cook tomorrow about that, because that is kind of very, very soon after a lot of people land in South Africa.
Yeah.
That's I'm missing that part. That's Monday? What
Yeah.
we do on Monday?
Yeah,
I thought we were the day off.
yeah,
Yeah, he asked to do a trial run on Monday at 5.
Oh, I missed
Have
that part.
landed.
yeah.
Okay.
He just sent an email like today, or I forget, just recently, and asked about it.
Yeah, he just sent an email today about it, and I was taken back by it. Like, whoa, okay, like we can't do this on like Tuesday, because I get in on Monday after an 11-hour flight from London, so that's going to be tough.
I'm gonna be in safari.
Yeah, right. So we'll talk to him about. We'll talk about that with him tomorrow, so that we can kind of set a time for him to view it. I know they want to kind of hear the presentation before we do it, but
But at least we should practice this on ourselves first.
yeah, for
We get
sure.
there, we practice and
Yeah, for sure. And
flow
I'm
and
think-
everything.
I'm thinking that Tuesday will probably be the day where we kind of do all that, where we practice it together a couple times, and then allow Professor Cook in the room and then do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that seems more
that makes sense.
because that gives everybody some time to just settle in, get acquainted. You know what I mean? Get some sleep because I'm gonna need it. I'm sure Sarah's gonna need it. I'm sure John, you're gonna need it too. You know, because I don't want.
It's called jet lag. Everybody.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want you guys to be forced to do this when we all feel like shit. Pardon my language, but after getting off an 11-hour flight, I don't think any of us are going to want to do a presentation. So we'll talk about that tomorrow with him. Just to set that.
Let me know after that because I'm not gonna be able to join you.
Yeah, and you know you're not going to be able to join, so and Sarah won't even be there by Monday. So by Monday at 5. So you know Tuesday's probably going to be the day we got to do that. So
Yeah, we got the entire week. I mean, our presentation is Friday.
yeah, exactly. So we got the whole.
What are you gonna do? I mean, we got the
Yeah,
presentation on Monday. We have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. What we're supposed to do?
Right. Exactly. So it's one of those things where, you know, we could take an hour and 30 minutes each day and just practice together.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't understand where the rush is to on Professor Cook's side to kind of get that in, but I don't know. That might be something scheduling wise that we don't know that he has going on. So we'll talk about it tomorrow.
Let's be clear. In my part, I want to do just the introduction, where they are right now, and I'm going to work in supporting Salesforce point of view in every stage.
Right.
So
Right. So these three, and then
and then the 3. Okay.
yep, and then you do support pretty much after that point.
In case the questions show up or something, so we
Yeah. Yep.
two of us can answer them.
Yep. All right. So just our own self-imposed deadline is just try to get all the stuff that we need to finish the actual stuff off Friday. Is that okay? Like actually getting this stuff in here and writing whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I will be arriving on Friday over there.
Oh,
Oh, wow, you're early.
Yeah,
um,
I'm pretty much almost done.
yeah. Only thing you really got is this slide and then whatever you want to say,
Yeah,
pretty much.
I don't know, because in that case, because this slide should be eliminated because I'm gonna specifically talk about that in every
Yeah,
stage. No, I will divide this in 3 parts and I will include it in your presentation. That's what I'm gonna do. So that slide should be eliminated.
okay.
It's fine.
I'll take it out.
Mhm.
So what about this slide then? Should we keep it?
You're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, I got it. And we should keep it here?
Number 7? Is not the same one?
Yeah, like in that order.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
Okay. All right. All right. So Saturday deadline for putting everything you need to put in and speaking parts. Is everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Saturday, 9 p.m.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm hoping to have it done like before that anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, me
I
too.
want to try to enjoy my Saturday before I have to fly for the rest of my life. So
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I'll try to get all that done before I head out on Saturday. So and
Yeah.
basically I'm gonna be flying for 2 straight days. So
yeah.
yeah. But
You guys are gonna go.
all right. This has been a very productive meeting today. And we are almost there.
Indeed.
All righty, y'all. Thank you.
I will see you.
All right.
Well, I will see you there then, right?
Yeah, see y'all there.
Africa next time.
We got a meeting tomorrow, but you know, that's what Professor Cook. So, but all right, y'all.
Bye bye.
All right, bye-bye.